Stop.
Welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Jonathan Waltmeyer. I'm a librarian with Tulare County Library, and today we are going to be talking with the Porterville Ghost Society about extraterrestrial experience or phenomenon. And this is going to be for our virtual book festival for 2021, and which the theme is space. So please welcome to the Tulare County Library, Kat and Mike from the Porterville Ghost Society, and we are going to be talking about extraterrestrial activity. So the first question is, what is the history of the Porterville Ghost Society?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks for bringing us on board today. It's always a pleasure to come to the library. This is the second time we've been here. And everybody out there in Android or iPhone land, hello. Good to see you. Thanks for having us. Porterville Ghost Society has been around since June 2008. I founded it. And yes, so that's girl power, yay, no matter what you say. So we've been going since then. We have anywhere from 5 to 15 members at times. We travel throughout Tulare County, also we've done Kern. We've gone way out of area just to experience some paranormal investigations and helping people out and helping locations out. So that's it right there.
Okay, fantastic. And what was the impetus for investigating paranormal phenomenon? For the Ghost Society?
Being curious about it, experiencing it for years when I was a kid, all the way up to now, where I'm kind of old, and just wanting answers, making sure that it wasn't my imagination, that some of the urban legends or some of the experiences that we've had throughout the years are actually true, and we don't call something haunted unless we have actual evidence. Also like to hear experiences from people, what they consider paranormal, because the paranormal is just out of the ordinary. It could be a lot of stuff, things that can be explained, some things that can't be explained. So that's my thing, and just getting to do it, and actually just taking that leap and saying, we can do this too. So there you go. It's not just for the celebrities, the famous people. We were doing it for years.
Well, I think another thing when it comes to investigating the paranormal is, I remember as a kid always, you either watch scary movies or you watch this or that, and you think to yourself, what is it? What's that monster under the bed, or the creature in the closet, or whatever the case may be.
The boogeyman.
The boogeyman, right. And then as you get older, you realize, oh, well, it's not really the boogeyman, it's actually my older brother who scares me on a nightly basis. No personal traumas there, of course. and you start to realize, you rationalize things and things like that. But then you think to yourself, there's definitely something else there. There's clearly something that's out of the corner of your eye, you can't quite see, you can't quite put your finger on it or anything like that. And there's got to be a way to figure that out. And ghost stories have been around forever. Spooky stories have been around forever. Every holiday has some sort of a scary story. And oftentimes we think of Halloween, and we're in the spooky season, of course. We think of Halloween as the premier time for scary stories and things like that. Well, the next big holiday, not counting Thanksgiving and all the wonderful food, is Christmas. And Christmas has a giant spooky aura about it. In fact, there's Christmas carols that talk about telling ghost stories. And people don't really think about that because, the focus is on Santa and the presents. So throughout history and throughout the history of the year, if you will, there's always people talking about something spooky. And it's that thing that kind of helps us feel alive. We go to amusement parks and ride the rides because, the adrenaline, it makes you feel alive or whatever. You do Halloween horror nights and people jump out at you and scare you. We have that innate desire in our own selves. Everybody does, whether they want to admit it or not. That little fright, that little jump, that little spook. And for us, investigating that kind of takes some of the mystery away. without completely getting rid of that spooky
The feeling, the
feeling.
experience.
Yes, yeah.
And we do our tours and investigations because we want people to do that too. You have to renew your curiosity
Yeah.
a lot. And right now during these times where it's been so difficult for people to socialize because we're isolated, because we have to follow all these rules. We're all having to wear masks even though we're fully vaccinated, come on. And I'm not trying to be political, but we have to get back to the human part of being human.
Yeah.
And our investigations
Mm-hmm.
give us a chance to be together, to enjoy each other's company, as well as doing a service for someone and helping them out. And we follow all the safety precautions and mandates. And we're also good citizens. We want to keep each other healthy as well as the people,
Yeah.
kept them healthy. But at the same time, you got to bring back some of that mystery, some of that thrill, some of that stuff that makes your heart beat a little bit faster, because we need that. And we've never lost that part. So for people to contact us and for Porterville Ghost Society as an organization, we like to bring some of that back
Right.
to people and to ourselves. It's like a renewal,
Mm-hmm.
as opportunity for renewal and refreshing, and just to kind of put stuff behind you, like don't want to think about the outside world sometimes. Sometimes it's good to escape,
Yeah.
just like the amusement parks, just like
Right.
Halloween Horror Nights, which I had the thrill of going to.
Which I won't go to because it's
He
scary.
won't go to him because he's a big chicken.
I am a
He's
big chicken.
He's a scaredy cat. But it was a great reminder that we're alive and enjoy it, which is what we like to do too.
Yeah.
And also it's, Kat had mentioned earlier about being a service to help people. We will sometimes get messages from people, I think my house is haunted, or, something scary, and it's literally terrifying people. And if we have the opportunity to go there and to talk to them, do an investigation, and help them work through whatever it is that's scaring them, we'll be more than happy to do it. And sometimes it's bad plumbing and the pipes make noise and it scares them because they don't know. Sometimes it's, outside noises, maybe a raccoon that lives in the attic or something like that. And it's a very mundane or just everyday answer that they haven't thought of, because maybe their first thought went to, I can't explain it, so it's unexplainable. So if it's not explainable by me, it has to be that. And I think back to when I was a kid, and you have your chair and you put your jacket over it. Well, in the middle of the day, it looks like a jacket thrown over a chair, but at 1 o'clock in the morning, it looks like a scary ghost or something. Where if you turn the lights on, you realize what it is.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we help people, it's turning those lights on, figuratively speaking.
Yeah. Well, I think I do agree with the curiosity thing, because we should always have a curiosity about something, and here at the library we do want to encourage people to either read for education or for entertainment for that curiosity, and so I think what you're doing is great. This year our theme for our virtual book festival is space. And so I would like to know if you have a couple of examples of some extraterrestrial phenomenon that you've encountered. And I know before we started filming, you were also talking about the triangle in Tulare County. So I think that would also be a great thing to discuss too.
I think that'd be a great start right there.
Sure. So we kind of talked about it before we started filming, but you think about the Bermuda Triangle, very, very famous. And it mainly deals with ships and some aircraft, and it's off the coast of Florida, and weird and unusual things happen. There's also the Devil's Triangle, which is kind of on the other side of the world, and then there's different triangles. Well, Tulare County has its own triangle of sorts, and that's mainly geared towards UFOs or unexplained phenomena in that regard, i.e. flying saucers or whatever the case may be. And it kind of starts right around the Tule River Indian Reservation, kind of goes up through Lake Success, all the way up towards the Plainview, Woodville-ish area, and then back down again all the way out towards Poplar, and it kind of forms that triangle like that. And that's where the bulk of UFO sightings tend to happen here in Tulare County. And I'm not saying 100% that's the only place, but that is the bulk of them. And the bulk of the sightings, those sightings, tend to happen in the evening hours, somewhere around 4 p.m. to about 8 p.m., depending on the time of year and things like that. And that's usually like when the sun is setting and that sort of thing. Now, some people can theorize that the bulk of the sightings are during those hours because that's when people are getting home, they're driving home, you know, they're kind of looking up into the sky, and the sun is still kind of up, so it's easier to see. But all of those are just guesses on our parts. And the best times to see a UFO is typically between that 4 and 8 p.m. time frame when the sun is setting, and probably the best place would be in that triangle right there. And just, you know, go to Lake Success, park at the Vista Point, take a look. Or
Park by Kauai.
park by Lake Kauai, or which is a little further north, but it's still the same kind of thing. Find a nice place and take a look. And what's it gonna hurt? You get a nice drive out of it, get to watch the sunset. If you
Allow
don't-
some solitary, nice, quiet time.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's something that you can do during COVID protocols.
All right. And then what are some extraterrestrial activity that you have encountered, either as the PGS or personally?
Well, personally, I have my brother who could probably talk about it and verify. As a child, I remember seeing a silver sphere floating over some hills. We used to live in the outskirts off of Plano, and it was called Lewis Hill, very well known in the Portobello area. And at the foot of Lewis Hill, we saw this sphere coming over one of the hills, and it floated toward us. And I remember it having lines on it. It was probably about the size of a big dodgeball back in the day, and it didn't really have a sound or anything. It was just like we first noticed it when we heard this like low humming, and it wasn't loud, but it was but we noticed it, and we were the only ones outside. Nobody. It was a country, you know. Right now there's houses, but man, we were out in the sticks. That was considered the sticks, way out there, and it was just outside us too. Outside, you know, we're playing as kids, and I think we had just got through feeding the animals and stuff, and we were just outside in the front yard, and we saw the sphere coming over, and that's when it came right. It's almost like it came straight to us, like a beeline, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?" And we were looking at each other, and we looked up, and there it was hovering around us. And I remember putting my finger on it to see if it had any kind of feel, and I felt nothing. Nothing. There was like no heat, no cold, no wetness, no dry. It just felt like nothing. Like I just was sticking my finger in air, but I could see my finger go inside of that ball and come back out. And then it left. It just hovered a little bit more, and it just floated away back to the same area. So that was really strange. We also had an investigation at the museum, Portobello Museum. And we were looking up at the skies, looking at the beautiful skies, because the night was particularly clear that night. And we had some guests with us, and we were looking up. And then I remember saying, "What is that?" There was a light that we could see. At first I thought it was an airplane, because at the Portobello Airport, plus, you know, planes are everywhere. This light was moving so rapidly, zigzagging in all kinds of directions. It wasn't a plane, wasn't a drone, it was too far up. It didn't sparkle. It was only one bright light, like a clear white light. And it was just zigzagging around, and we're like, "Oh my God, what the heck is that?" We used more colorful language, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
I know if it was coming from my mouth, it was very colorful. And it was amazing. And there was several people that saw it, at least a dozen. that saw that. And we were like, I remember trying to take pictures of it, but you couldn't because
Yeah.
it was too far up, too dark for a cell phone camera to take a picture.
Yeah.
But we saw it. I saw it with my own eyes. Several
Mhm.
PGS members saw it, and so did several guests. It was amazing. So that I can tell you actually happened. And I've seen red lights in the sky just zipping quickly.
Mhm.
We had a member that caught I don't know, you explain that one.
So one of our other PGS members was outside. He was letting his dogs run around in the front yard, normal afternoon, early evening things. And his attention was diverted to the sky. And in the sky was this black, like rectangular shaped object. It wasn't shaped like an airplane or a helicopter, there's no wings on it. It was just like a rectangle. And it was just moving real slow, and it'd make these weird, like darty movements, which are unusual for an aircraft that's manned, because the human body can only take so much centrifugal force or G forces or anything like that.
Mike would know that because he served in the military, so you're privy to some of that kind of stuff.
Right, and so he takes his phone, he takes a few pictures of it, takes a video of it, and he was able to zoom in a little bit and capture some stills of it, and it's very, very square and just unusual shape, and it stayed up in the sky for a fair number of minutes, maybe 5 or 6 minutes, which is a long time for something like this. A lot of times people see a UFO and then it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And interesting side note on that is he sent it to all of us. Hey, check this out. This is what I saw. And I don't know, maybe a day later, maybe karma, fate, whatever you want to call it. There was a program on TV, and it was generic UFO program on TV. Maybe the guy with the crazy hair that talks about aliens. and they were talking about these flying saucers or UFOs, and one of the ones that they featured were these rectangle shaped craft.
Mhm.
and it
was Arizona mountains.
and it was in the Arizona mountains
Uh-huh.
outside of the Superstition Mountains,
Mhm.
and it was almost identical to what our other member had caught. And interestingly, he lives a handful of doors down from me, and we are right in the heart of that triangle that I had mentioned earlier.
Okay.
And speaking of the Superstition Mountains, when I was younger, I had a very odd experience in the Superstition Mountains, actually driving by them. I was stationed in Camp Pendleton. I had family that lived outside the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, and it was a long weekend. I was driving home, and it was late at night because if you'd ever been in the military, when they say you work a half day, that means 12 full hours, not like 4 hours. And it was one of those days, and it was super late, and I was probably passing past the Superstition Mountains, and it was pushing midnight. And I remember thinking to myself that the weather was a little odd, not like raining, but it was like weirdly electric. You know how you can kind of
feel it,
you
yeah.
can feel the electric in there. And I remember thinking to myself, weird, like that. And I'm looking around, and I didn't see any clouds or lightning or anything, but it felt heavy and electric, right? And there's really no easy way to describe it, but if you lived in the Midwest before big thunderstorms, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You can feel it.
You can feel the electric in the air.
Some people just can do that. I do that. He does that.
And so anyway, I remember thinking that, and I remember the Superstition Mountains were right there. And this is odd because I don't remember much else. But I remember it was right around midnight because I remember what time I left.
It's the big words that get him every time.
The big words get me. I remember what time I left. I know exactly how long it takes to get to the Phoenix area. And so time is not an abstract concept, right? And it took me X amount of time to get there, and it was right around midnight. And I remember thinking to myself how electric the air was. The next thing I know, my car is parked, and 3 hours have elapsed, and I'm in the exact same spot I was. But I don't remember pulling over. I don't remember anything else. I just remember all of this, and then 3 hours had passed.
Wow.
And it was just like that. Very strange. Now, I didn't see anything, but the Superstition Mountains are very, very well known for all kinds of very strange things.
Of
Yeah.
weird
I mean, aptly
things.
named, I guess.
Yeah, there's been lots of people missing in
Yes,
that area too.
yeah.
There's been lots of people missing from the forest,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the area, missing people that never come back.
Yeah.
It's documented. How about that family that was found in the forest, the family of three? The man, the wife, and the child, and then their dog. They still have not come up with what happened to them. They
Yeah.
were found
Mhm.
deceased. So who knows what's out there?
Mhm.
The things in the sky, you just don't know. I remember having an experience a few years ago, and my niece was with me. I looked out the window because I heard this rumble, like a low rumble. And when I looked out the window, and I have a big, the window in the dining room is a real big window. And I looked up and I saw something that I can't explain. I've been able to draw pictures of it, and I'm not the greatest artist in the world. You're even worse. But I couldn't, it looked like a dark object. I thought at first it was a stealth bomber because they're dark and they have that shape, that triangular
Mhm.
shape.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they can be pretty silent. They're not completely silent, but they can be pretty quiet when they need to be. But this thing flew over my house, but what I could see, and it's hard to explain unless you experience it. I saw lights underneath it, and it looked, the best I can describe it is it had looked like pipes were coming out of the sides, like pipes.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the pipes had little different things sticking up off of them, and lights, and the lights were not necessarily in a pattern, but they were blinking everywhere.
Yeah.
And then it just went straight up in the air, so fast that you couldn't even track it.
Just like that, huh?
Just like that. And this is true. This is actual truth. I would take a lie detector test. I would swear on whatever you gave me. But I saw it with my own eyes, just like I saw the sphere, just like you'll swear to what you saw.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people, the space thing, the UFO thing, the extraterrestrial thing, people sometimes are afraid to come forward, just like they're afraid to come forward with ghosts, spirits.
Well,
Mhm.
I think people are afraid to come forward to anything
Right.
other paranormal or supernatural.
Or to admit that they believe in it.
Right, right. Well, there's a stigma attached to it as well,
Mhm.
and I can talk to people. This time of year is a little bit different, of course, because everybody wants to hear.
And we're
about,
popular.
Yeah.
We're real popular right now.
But I could talk to people and I could say, yeah, I saw a ghost, or I saw this, or whatever, or yeah, I believe in cryptids, I believe in this, or I believe in that. And 9 times out of 10, you'll get someone roll their eyes at you. Well, you get enough people rolling their eyes at you, you're just not going to say anything,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? Or they'll be like, that's stupid, and they kind of poo-poo the idea, or poo-poo the words. And so you just stop saying anything. And I think that's kind of where a lot of people are is, like, hey, I think I saw something. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to look silly or something like that. And I think having Porterville Ghost Society is a good outlet for people to say, hey, I think I saw something, where there's no judgment. There's no preconceived idea that I think you're, I think you're dumb, or something like
You're
that.
weird. You're a nerd.
Right.
Yeah.
It's we are very accepting. We're
Mhm.
very tolerant. And I used to be one of those people that would okay, example, we might be considered part of that gamer community, where I used to, I would look down on people who had the card games and the little things. But then when you start looking at it, and
Mhm.
does it make them happy?
Yeah.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah, it does. So who are we to make any kind of judgment? If it makes them happy, I'm all for it, right on. this thing with the Ghost Society. Does it make us happy? Does it make other people happy? Heck yeah, it does. So, you know, we're very, very accepting, tolerant, and because we've been there, and I hear you, and we're considered like the weirdos. But we consider ourselves the cool kids.
Yeah.
So, and we have a blast, and yes, and what he said was correct, that the people roll their eyes, but those same eye rollers are bringing us to the corners. Or
that was going to be my
Go ahead.
my caveat.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Go
ahead.
for it.
Interrupt me.
No,
all
you're
you
better. You're better because you might use big words that might hurt your brain. But go ahead.
Want. But those same people that will roll their eyes, especially in like professional settings. Oh, that's dumb. They'll pull you aside and, hey, I had blah 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 happen to me. Not UFO related, but I can cite a really good example. I was talking to this man. He's a business owner, very prominent in the Porterville area, and he just bought a new building. And I'm going to say new. It's new to him. This place was built in like 1929. It started off as a house, and it expanded into a business, and that's where he has his business. And he recently did it within like the last 6 months or something. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him, and he's like, yeah, you know, my business is doing okay, whatever. He's a businessman. And so he doesn't present that air of, oh, I think I saw a ghost or anything like that. But then he does one of these and leans into me and he says, you still investigate ghost stuff, right? And I said, well, yeah, you know, whenever I can, you know, COVID kind of put a dampener on things. And he says, I need to tell you a story. And then he goes into great detail about a personal experience, and then another personal experience, and then another personal experience he had in this building since he moved into it. But he would never admit that in front of anybody else. And those are the opportunities that we get, and it's that kernel of real person that you know you've opened up with somebody about. And we all put on, you know, we're wearing these things, but we all wear masks every single day, whether we want to admit it or not. And, you know, my mask at work is a different person than who I am at home, and that sort of thing. And it's a matter of being able to take that mask off and talk to somebody face to face. And I think Porterville Ghost Society affords people that opportunity to where they can relax a little bit, take that mask off, and tell us a real story, a real event, and actually open up in ways that we can't in a normal society.
Well, I think that's you know, that's, I do agree that, you know, everyone wants to be their, you know, their true selves, but we do have to like make it, you know, appear a certain way in public. And it's a lot of information, and I hope all the viewers have you know, gotten something out of it. And I would say that if you want to contact the Porterville Ghost Society, it'd be portervilleghostsociety.com.
Yeah, portervilleghostsociety.com.
Or Facebook.
Facebook. We also have we got everything, don't we?
I don't know. I'm
Tons.
not big on social media too much.
We aren't either. Somebody
Yeah.
set them up.
Okay, so when she says somebody set them up, what she means is my teenage son at the time set them up, and he's very tech savvy, like all people younger than us are.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of like the moderator for it for us.
Okay, good.
And
also,
then he just tells us what to do.
Yeah, and the website is actually a great website, lots of information, so definitely check that out. And I go on there every now and then because I want to see what you know, are there any new photos, any new information?
Well, there's going to be some new photos after next weekend, where we're going to be doing 3 investigations over 3 days.
Okay.
And the Mason House in Lindsay, which used to be an old hospital. We're going to be doing the Barn Theater and the Portobello Museum. So we have a special group coming from Los Angeles called SCARS. They're going to join us, medical professionals who are also paranormal investigators.
Okay.
Plus, we have our friend Rick McCallum from Hollywood Ghost Hunters, and he's used to be a stuntman back in Hollywood. So he's well connected to Kane Hodder. And if you've heard of Kane Hodder, he's
And if
he's
you haven't heard of
Yeah.
Kane Hodder, who is that?
Jason.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's
Jason
from
Voorhees.
Jason Voorhees, and he's well connected to him. He actually donated a hockey mask to us for a
Wow.
fundraiser for one of our investigations. We made some good money off of it, and what we did is that we donated to Cat House on the Kings, which is a feline rescue.
Mhm.
But we do lots of stuff like that for the community. We've helped veterans with veterans funding. Kids groups, Kiwanis, we're going to be at the Trunk and Treat at the Galaxy Theater on October 30th to help partner with the Kiwanis Club of Porterville
Okay.
for activities for kids.
Mhm.
So we do a lot for the community because we're from the community
Yeah.
and we give back. But we have fun, and please, if anybody has any questions about paranormal activity or just a question or just a comment, go to portervilleghostsociety.com. You can also hit us up on our Facebook page, but we'd be happy to listen and help you out. And we're not going to make fun of you or roll our eyes. We don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's enough people that do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't do that.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us today and helping us out with our virtual book festival. And like I said, it's been the second time you've
Mhm.
done this, and we hope to have you again sometime. So.
Anytime, thank you. Thank you for
Mhm.
inviting us. It's always a pleasure. It's always a
Yes.
joy.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.